Well, welcome everybody. Welcome back to the Dr. Edie Show. So excited to be here today. I'm happy to have you here today. And here's my question for you as we get started this morning. Do you have trouble keeping commitments to yourself? Do you set goals, make resolutions, and then feel like you're so bad at the follow through? Raise your hand if that's you. I feel like so often that's where we are. And in today's video, I'm going to give you some simple and powerful ways to start keeping your word to yourself, to start keeping the commitments to yourself. We want this to be fun, y'all. So we're going to talk about having fun with the goals that you set, with the resolutions that you make, so that you will actually keep doing it. It's not as hard as you think. And I'm going to teach you what I have learned about how to actually follow through. Because I think what happens to us so many times is that we set a goal, decide we're going to do something, then we fail, we don't do it. And pretty soon we think we're so bad at it that we just stop doing it. I would love to know if you're a person who's like, you know what, I don't even do that anymore because I never follow through with what I say I'm going to do. So today we're going to talk about 7 simple but powerful ways that you can actually follow through with what you say you're going to do. So tell me if you have, maybe in the last few weeks, set a goal or decided you're going to do something or made a declaration and you already feel like, oh, I'm not sure about that. So I would love to know what you're working on. I'm going to share mine with you because I feel like my example of what I've been working on lately is really helpful to people because it's so regular and ordinary. And I have been in the personal growth space for a long time. I'm a physician, a life coach. By the way, welcome if it's your first time joining one of my videos. I'm Dr. Edie, physician, life coach, author, speaker, and have been working on personal growth for a long time. So a lot of the areas of my life over time, I've been able to make better. One of the things that I've really struggled with in the past, especially the past year, I think it's gotten a lot worse, is my nighttime routine and kind of I call it slangry. I get sleepy and angry, and I feel like I've done so much good stuff during the day that I don't have one more ounce to give. And so then I would just shirk off things that I really would want to do. I might leave my kitchen a little messy. I might, be on my screen before bed instead of doing reading. And so I have set a personal goal to not leave dishes in my sink at night and to not take my computer to bed. Now, that might sound like easy things to do, but not for me lately because I work from home, because I work on my computer, I always feel like there's a few things I need to do. I need to, do these things. So we're going to talk about how I have been able to make some real progress and headway just in a few weeks on this goal, and how that might translate into what you're wanting to do. Maybe you're wanting to lose a little weight. Maybe you're wanting to save some money. Maybe you're wanting to start an exercise program. Maybe you're wanting to beef up your morning routine, whatever it is. Maybe it's work on your relationships, but we're going to talk about it. So the first thing that I think really helps, and these are all going to be things that I hope you can remember. The first thing is just decide it. Decide what you want to work on. And even if you've felt like you've been a failure before, I want you to just decide something. Here's what I want to work on. And I want you to decide not just the thing you want to work on, but how you want to talk about it. Because here's what we do. This was my temptation too. When I had this like nudging that I needed to do something at night, like, oh, I don't like being so crabby at night. And I don't like just going to bed and not doing things, that I feel like I should do. But then there's this other part of my brain that goes, but you know what? You get up really early and you're a morning person and you don't have to be a nighttime person too. And so then I would listen to this. Well, you should. And here's what I don't want you to do with your decision to do something. Don't should yourself. Find another way to talk about it instead of like shoulding yourself. Like, well, you should want to do this. Well, sometimes we just don't. And I think finding a better way to talk about it in a more positive light really helps me. So instead of saying I should do these things at night, I decided that my statement was more like, I love being the kind of person who reads poetry at night. instead of being on her computer. I like being the kind of person who leaves her kitchen spotless. And those, like, reframing the statement of what you want to do into a positive way will really help you, because you guys, our thoughts and the things that we speak then generate feelings in us. So if your thought and statement is, I should want to lose weight, that probably doesn't give you a great feeling. You're like, yeah, I should, but I also want to eat Oreos or whatever, right? And so come up with a way of saying it that makes you really feel it. And when I say, so number 2 is feel it. Number 1 is decide it, say it in a way that inspires you. Number 2 is feel it, to make sure that the way you're talking about your goal or your commitment is in a way that actually inspires you. You want to feel motivated by it. So when I say to myself, I am a person who reads poetry at night, that's very inspiring to me. Now, that might not be inspiring to you. So you have to figure out, how can you talk about your goal or resolution or commitment in a way that inspires you, not in a way that shames you into doing something, but in a way that motivates you and inspires you. Because our feelings are the fuel of what we actually do in our lives. So if we want to take better actions, we're going to have better feelings. And this might be a newsflash for you. I hope it is, because this will change your life. You're in control of your feelings. Your feelings come from your thoughts. And so if you just decide what you want to think and say about your life, about your goal, about your commitment, you get to control that. And then that will give you feelings that motivate you. So you decide on purpose how you want to talk about what you're doing in your life. And as you decide that, it will generate these feelings for you that will motivate you to keep going. So make sure the emotion that you're generating is actually motivating you to take action, inspiring you, not shaming you. Number 3, write it. So we got to decide it, feel it, write it. Write it down. It's so, so powerful. So when I started to work on my nighttime routine, y'all, I put it in my calendar. And I decided, and we're going to talk about that in a second, how you can stack it with other habits. But I just decided, like, okay, how can I really think through this? I want to not be slangry at night, sleepy and angry. I want to, like, do the things that I want to do. I'd always have this vision. Like, I'm one of those people that if I was super, super tired, I would, like, mostly clean up the kitchen, but then leave stuff, in the sink. And I would always think, oh my gosh, if something happens to me at night, my poor sister is going to have to come clean up my kitchen. And I would just have weird feelings of, like, I should do better than that. And it never motivated me to do better. So when I started working on how I say it to myself, what feelings that generates, and then I physically wrote it down. So when I physically wrote it in my calendar every night, it was really kind of cool. It almost gave me this sense of looking forward to it. Like, oh, that's right. Tonight, I'm going to work on that. Tonight, I'm going to be a person who reads poetry at night and be a person who doesn't leave dishes in her sink. And so that was really inspiring to me to have to kind of write it down, have it in my calendar so that I kind of look forward to it. Your brain gears up for things that you write down. It'll go, oh, we're going to do that at 7:45. Okay, good. Now, if you don't wind down and get ready for bed at 7:45, that's probably because you don't get up at 4. And I have this curse from my daddy. My daddy, when he was living, I think the last few years of his life, he would wake up at 3 or 3:30, like, for the day. So I have this very early gene in my bones. And so when it gets to nighttime, I just, like, oh, I'm too tired. So write it. Number 4. Habit stack it. So we're going to decide it, feel it, write it, and habit stack it. So what I mean by this comes from a book called Atomic Habits. And what I mean by this is pair it with something that you already enjoy. So here's what I noticed. I love at night, I love YouTube, and I love at night watching, the uploaded videos of people that I follow or that I love. But what I would do is I would kind of save those for when I would go to bed at night, right? And what I decided to do instead is watch those while I'm cleaning the kitchen. And because I decided I didn't want to take my computer to bed, I wasn't really in a super hurry to get done in the kitchen. So it worked out kind of like magic because I knew, like, oh, when I finish in the kitchen, then I'm ready to go to bed without my computer. So I better do what I need to do here while I'm cleaning the kitchen. So it's kind of become something that I look forward to. Oh, yay. After dinner, when everybody else scatters and I'm in the kitchen, working on the dishes, it gives me a good time to catch up on podcasts, catch up on YouTube channels. And then when I go to bed, I don't take my computer, I don't open it again. And that has been I can't even tell you how much it has blessed me and how much easier it has been because I pair it with something that I really enjoy. So that's habit stack it. Next one is fail at it. This is number 5. You guys, we think failure means we're not good. We think failure means we're never going to do that thing. We think failure means we never were meant for that. I'm just never going to be a night person. Well, I probably am never going to be a night person since I do go to bed at 8:30 or 9. But be willing to fail. Accept that failure is part of the process. Failure is part of getting better at something. And ask yourself, not a lot of times what we do with the failure is we make it mean that we're bad people. Wrong. Ask yourself, what can I learn from the failure? Not what does the failure mean about me? The failure means you're human. Okay. So let's ditch all of the shame and guilt that we heap on ourselves when we say we're going to do something and then we don't. Let's just learn from it. So that's number 5. Number 6, just get back at it. So you fail at it. So what? What did you learn from it? Next night, here you go again. The question is not if you will fail. The question is when you will fail. What will you do then? You are going to fail at it. So what are you going to do then? You're going to get back at it. You're just going to learn from what the mistakes that you made or whatever you're calling a failure, learn from that and get back at it. Number 7 is celebrate it or make it fun. So for me, this might not sound fun to you, but for me, making it fun was like, you know what? I really want to be a person who reads poetry at night. So after I get my kitchen tidied up, I'm going to get a new poetry book and I'm really into like poetry, fairy tales, that kind of thing. I'm going to get a couple new books and I'm going to look forward to that. I'm going to make it fun for myself, give myself something to look forward to since I'm not going to be on my computer. And I have to say, the first night, it felt a little, I felt a little deprived. I'm like, it was hard. You guys, have you tried going to bed without your electronics? It's kind of hard and it's a terrible habit to get into, but I got into that habit this year and I knew it wasn't good for me. I wasn't sleeping good and I would get sucked into like news cycle stuff at night. And then your mind is going crazy and it just wasn't good for my rest and it wasn't good for my brain. And so I needed to find something to replace that with. So just taking something away in your life is sometimes, you'll feel that void. What can you put in there to make it fun, to celebrate, that will just make it seem like I'm not losing anything. Man, I get to go upstairs and read my books now. And that is exactly what has happened for me. So I say all that to say that you can think that you're not good at keeping your commitments to yourself, but that's just a thought. And if you want to change that thought, you can. You can just decide today that you are good at keeping commitments to yourself, because what will happen is you will prove yourself right either way. So be careful, little mind, what you think, and just decide that you are good at keeping your commitments to yourself, and then watch you get good at it. And that is really exciting to me. So I want you to think about and pick one way, even if it's a tiny, small way, that you can honor your word to yourself today. Maybe you decide that you need to walk more, that you want to go for a walk. Maybe it's something with the way that you're eating and feeding yourself. Maybe it's something in your relationships, but I want you to decide that you're going to do something. And then I just want you to practice thinking about how you will keep your word to yourself. And as you build trust with yourself, the thing that's so amazing about that is that as you increase your capacity to do that with yourself, you also increase your capacity to do that with other people. You just get good at honoring your word. And so pick something that will be, make you excited for yourself that you did it. Maybe it's your bills or your taxes, or maybe it's that book you want to write. Write it down first, and then decide what you want to think about it so that you can generate these feelings that are more motivating for you. And then set yourself up in a way, habit stack it, make it fun, set yourself up in a way so that you can actually follow through with the things that you say you're going to do. Now, if you're having trouble even thinking of anything, you might want to watch my video from last week about just designing your life on purpose and picking something that you want to improve at, that you want to get better at. That video might be helpful for you. So, I am so grateful you're here. Oh, I'm just now seeing all your comments. Hi, everybody. So good to see you today. Well, I am so glad that you were here. I would be so honored, y'all, if you give this video a like, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel. We have started live streaming here and just last week. So we're really happy to be on the YouTube platform. I was telling people last week that it only took me about 6,000 hours to figure out how to live stream on YouTube with my new camera. So apparently old dogs can learn new tricks. So let my tiny success motivate you to try some new things too. So thank you so much for joining today. Every week at noon, I'll be live streaming here on YouTube. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing my content, and I will see you next week. Bye, you guys. Love ya.